Hello, I'm John Dodge, Community Manager of the Enterprise CIO Forum, and today my guest is Enterprise CIO Forum Council member Joel Dobbs. Hi, Joel.
Hello.
Good to see you again. You're a regular on the Enterprise CIO Forum. You retired last year from Asai Pharmaceutical. You have your own company now. You're at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, and gee, Joel, that's not what I'd call retirement.
No. Retirement describes the transaction between my former company and me, not my lifestyle.
Exactly. Well, today we want to talk about a blog post you did called "Oh No, Mr. CIO," and I guess the title is pretty self-describing. The CIO and IT say no to the end user, and you talked a lot about how this is prompting sales and marketing, for example, to go around IT. Just synopsize that blog post for us, Joel.
Yeah, I had a phone conversation, or actually as an in-person conversation over a cup of coffee with a young man who is he manages the digital marketing function for a fairly large company. I would guess you would almost call it a conglomerate. And he was talking about a new marketing campaign for one of their companies that was being launched as a web marketing campaign, and bemoaning the fact that he had so much difficulty getting help from the company's IT department, specifically the CIO. As he described it, the CIO's standard answer to everything is basically no. And if we begin to talk about that a bit more, it was clear that this was a fairly pervasive problem within the company, and not just him. And he subsequently sent me a couple of links to pieces that I incorporated into the post that indicate that this is really not a unique problem.
Well, I mean, how common is it? We're talking about the whole consumerization trend where end users can get the technology they want and need without the help or management of IT. How prevalent is it?
I think it's becoming more and more prevalent, particularly in areas like marketing, which tend to be very opportunistic. They tend to move very quickly. They can't really wait around, and there's a whole host of tools available to them now externally that they can literally, with the use of a company credit card, sign up for and do all remotely, and never have to involve the in-house IT function. And I think what has happened is that the net effect here is that you essentially have an every person for himself sort of environment that begins to perpetuate itself after a while. And I think the fact that so many CIOs, rather than try to engage and try to work with people and try to be helpful, simply throw up their hands and say, no, we can't do that, has really created this type of environment.
You know, this whole BYO, D for device, C for cloud, A for applications, you can put any letter on the end of that acronym that you want. Let me ask you just very succinctly, good or bad?
I think actually in the long term, good. And it's good because I think we have the ability to exploit technology in ways that enable us to do things that we simply couldn't do in the past, and to do them very quickly. I think the challenge for CIOs is learning to embrace this new environment and actually thrive in it.
Well, you're a CIO. You shouldn't be saying these things. Or maybe CIOs that recognize the advantages of bring your own IT, for lack of a better term, is it's a good thing, and that you as a CIO recognize that would put you make you an enlightened CIO.
You know, one of the things that I think we tend to forget, so many people like to be command and control type executives. And the first obstacle that's thrown up is usually security. Now, security is important. It's a critical discipline for IT organizations. But there's a big difference between security as a critical discipline done well and security as an excuse. The difference is security as a discipline done well manifests itself when the IT organization takes every request seriously. They do a serious look at it, doing the proper due diligence. They present the risk, the rewards. They present alternatives if it's too risky. The other alternative, when it simply is used as an excuse, is to just throw up your hands and say, no, it's not secure, we can't do that. There's a big, big difference between the two.
No, the CIO who's very threatened by BYOIT, but knows it's going to happen anyway, which probably a lot of CIOs would fall into that classification. What is that CIO that's enlightened and knows what he or she should do, but is used to command and control?
Well, I think this becomes a question of evolve or become extinct. And I think for those folks, what they have to really learn to do is to realize that the world is moving very quickly, and that's the way innovation works. And if you look back just a few years ago, there were a lot of things we take for granted now were the same kind of innovations. Personal computers. I'm old enough to remember when these things were considered toys and not allowed in the workplace. Mm-hmm. Local area networks, the same way. People began stringing local area networks in their work groups without the knowledge of IT because IT wasn't responding. We don't think anything about those. They're commonplace now.
Right.
But that's the way that innovation in IT proceeds.
Well, that's terrific, Joel. Thanks for your insights today, Joel Dobbs, former CIO and very frequent blogger and visitor to the Enterprise CIO Forum. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is John Dodge, Community Manager of the Enterprise CIO Forum. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again.